I've started pivoting a bit. If anybody ends up looking through my catalog of videos now on YouTube, I initially started this thinking it was going to be a audio podcast, and I've started getting to the point where I feel like I'm enjoying more of the flexibility and creativity from a YouTube angle, which, is you get to do long form, short form, you can do vlogs, you can do podcasts, shorts, whatever the case may be, right? So, um, if you do end up checking out any of my older videos, fair warning, they are only audio. But I am now starting to shift more into video format, even some of the video podcasts, but also just short form and long form. Um, and really, this is just an opportunity for me to maybe introduce myself a little and talk a bit about why I'm doing this and what this channel means to me. Um, I I'm actually taking this year off from my previous day job, which is in IT. I'm a Scrum Master, um, and I've taken this year off to pursue acting. Acting was something that I sort of came into in terms of discovering it and trying it out late in 2019, and I kind of loved it. It was something that I think I was always interested in trying, and I'd sort of never given myself the chance to, and I did, and I really felt called to it, and sort of started applying myself to it, and finally got to a point last year where I went through a bunch of things, some of which I've recorded in different videos, and some of the work that I've done with psychedelics, and some of the healing that I've sort of benefited from by working with ayahuasca, which I'll drop a link somewhere if you're interested in checking it out. It's been an interesting year because it was starting out interestingly in terms of like auditions and things like that, but the industry is going through a bit of a shakeup. There's a few different things happening. There's a strike, etc. So I kind of felt like I had to pivot because I have this time and I want to try and spend this time as productively as possible, but also using it for creativity and finding other ways where I can be creative, um, and be engaged in a creative way. If that makes sense. I'm kind of glad how it's all working out because I've now found this outlet to do something that I think checks a few different boxes for me. And really, it's number one, um, having a sense of control and autonomy in expression and sort of creative self-expression. So that's one. Two is definitely finding a way where I can pursue things in the creative space, in the creative realm, whether it's acting, content creation, podcasting, across the gamut, in that creative field, uh, finding a way where I can make a living off of this and do this um, as a career, I guess. And finally, I think the third most important thing that ties back to one of the things I feel like I can do here through this medium is really try and give back in a way. Um, this was something I think I've always maybe wanted to do in terms of like giving back or just helping in some way. And a lot of it has been reinforced with some of the psychedelic work I've done. Is I've found that a lot of the pursuits that I'm going after for myself, they feel good, but they're very fleeting. As in, you set goals, you work towards them, you get them, and you feel good for a few days, maybe a little bit, and then it just kind of fades. But I found that every time I've done something that has benefited others, or I've been able to give back, whether it's my family or friends or anybody in general, I find that gives me some of the best satisfaction and fulfillment ever. Um, and so this is just one of those things where I've realized I definitely want to have fun and do creative things and explore myself and my interests. but I also want to in some way, I feel like I need to have it tied to leading to some kind of positive impact on the world and on people. You know, and I've said this in a short before, and I really feel like I I hit this point. This point hits me more and more. Time is really really short. In that time goes by so fast. Like I started this year off, and it's already half a year. Like it's June. So for me, in that way, I think I'm now able to really step back and look at things just from a broader macro perspective, you know, of life in general. And what seems to keep coming back to me is I need to do something for myself that I feel is worth doing, that makes kind of my life not count per se, but I want to make my time worthwhile. And I get to do this one time. We all get to do this one time. I want to be able to have it be meaningful in a way where it's not just about me, but it's about the people I'm able to help and what I'm able to do. So that is where I've now kind of pivoted more into sort of the content creation side, the YouTube side, the podcasting side. And honestly, I'm enjoying it. It's kind of maddening at times because it's extremely hard. And I mean, I talked about overthinking in another video and a bunch of different things. It's really very hard not to get carried away with what you're trying to do, because I think it's human nature to want to, you know, succeed or accomplish or hit goals and milestones. And um, knowing that there is a part of this that I wanted to become viable as a career, or you know, as a job in a sorts, in a sense. There's that sort of underlying pressure that I maybe put on myself, and I think a lot of us do, where it's like, I need this to work, this needs to go well, I need to start seeing momentum. But this is the weird challenge, just trying to find a way where you don't lose out on the primary intent of why you're doing this, which is, I mean, yes, of course I want to make money, and of course I mean I need to make money to make a living, but there's so many other things that I want to do through this and with this, and I need to remind myself to sort of keep that in the forefront and keep focus on that, right? And so that's where I feel like you know, I'm at in my journey this year. I still have a half a year left, and I'm still hoping to do some acting work and collaborate with people on that front. But I love the fact that I have control on this, in that I can prop up the camera and talk about something that I'm passionate about, or make a video about something that I want to share with people that might be helpful, that I feel like might, you know, benefit them or contribute to some kind of benefit. At least from this channel perspective, really. So that's where I'm experimenting really now, in terms of doing sort of this vlog style video. I mean, I guess it's still kind of like a talking head video because I'm not walking around and doing anything, and I'll get there. I need to figure it out, and I need to figure my style and rhythm. I think that's really what I'm trying to do at this point, is figure out how I can do it my way, you know. And so this is just something that I really want to do and kind of try and see how people might react to it. And I know it's sort of early on in that there's not much of a follower base. I know some people are subscribing, which I really really appreciate. And I really want it to be of value to you, right? I think we're all inundated with so much out there in terms of material, content, great information, not so great information. But I appreciate the fact if somebody is really spending time listening to this or watching this or participating and engaging in this and what I do in any way, really. So I really would love some feedback from people in terms of certain things that they're liking from the channel. You know, what kind of material, whether it's shorts, podcasts, talking head videos, vlog style videos, whatever the case is, that they might want to see more of. Um, and that would just be great for me, because then that would also give me an idea of, okay, how do I want to format the type of materials and topics that I want to talk about and cover, right? Um, and yeah, that's really it. The reason I'm laughing is I did put out a short very recently about focusing on single ingredient foods, and it's something that I heard through Sal DiStefano, who's sort of part of the Mind Pump team. And if you don't know who that is, check them out and check them out. They're fantastic. They really take a very, very pragmatic approach to health and wellness in terms of, you know, doing things in an incremental way that actually make your body become resilient and sustainable from a sort of fat loss perspective, but also a strength building perspective. There's just a lot of really cool information. And something that Sal was mentioning was focus on single ingredient foods. It's one of the fastest and easiest ways to get healthy, because it really narrows things down in terms of the food that you can have, which is good, because there's a lot of food that truly is just not really good for us. It's not that I don't eat it. I definitely indulge from time to time. I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to be perfect. I don't think anybody is. But when you know something's good for you, when you know something's not, you do on average have the ability to make a choice to prioritize the better thing, right? With that said, I got a comment on that video, and I'm kind of excited because it was like a genuine comment, but it was not necessarily a positive comment. It was somebody kind of pointing out that it's kind of nonsense, because there are other foods like mayonnaise, for example, that that have multiple ingredients. So what are you talking about, single ingredient foods? And like, you might buy a salad and there are multiple ingredients there. I get what this person's trying to say, but either they misunderstood my point or they're just taking a stab. But essentially, whatever ingredients are part of the foods that you're eating, whether it's a multi-ingredient dish or a single ingredient dish, just make sure that they are coming from whole natural sources as much as possible. There are stuff in store-bought mayonnaise that is not good for you. There's a lot of seed oils in them. There's a lot of sugar in them. I'm a huge mayonnaise fan. I love mayonnaise. And I consume especially mayonnaise from a store-bought way very sparingly now, because I found out that it has all this stuff and it's not good for you. And it sucks. And I can make my own mayonnaise, but that's a whole bunch of effort, and I really haven't felt how do you say, called enough to make my own mayonnaise. But I can if I wanted to, and I should if I want to. But the point is, in the foods that you eat, keep an eye on what kind of products and chemicals it has, because some of this shit is bad for us. But beyond all that, the comment, I had a good laugh about it, because he still paid attention to a lot of the things that was in the video. The shirt I was wearing, pointing out the fact that it was a Dragon Ball Z shirt and stuff about Goku. I had a good laugh. Even though this wasn't a positive comment, it was almost like, you actually paid attention and you gave me some criticism. And I'm kind of happy because you're engaging with the video, and that kind of makes me happy, which is silly, but it was funny. So, yeah, I mean, really, that's what this video, this vlog episode is. And maybe I'll stitch some stuff onto it throughout the day. I don't know. This is a first. This is a new thing for me. So I did want to add something onto this video. I was just watching an episode of the Diary of a CEO podcast. If you don't know what that is, it's an awesome podcast. You can check it out on pretty much all the podcast platforms. It's also on YouTube as well. It's run by Stephen Bartlett. He's an entrepreneur, a businessman, but he also does a lot of really cool. He has a lot of really cool conversations with people from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all disciplines. And today was, and it wasn't today's episode. I was just going back through the catalog and trying to find an episode I hadn't listened to yet. and it was Jessie. Oh my god, I'm gonna mess her name up. Inchauspé? Ish something. Come on. Trying to look up her name real quick. I was just following her on Instagram today. Uh, yeah, this is hard. Jessie Inchauspé. Inchauspé? Yeah, okay, that's a hard name. She goes by Glucose Goddess on Instagram, and she was just talking about some really, really, really cool stuff that I've kind of known, but it was really nice to hear from somebody who's sort of done the research and done the work from a actual, biology and chemistry perspective. So she's a biochemist. She's gone through certain things in her life that kind of made her shift to focus on health, and a lot of it's to do with glucose and the effects of sugar on the body and the cumulative effects of glucose spikes and what that does to health, aging, and just a lot of cool information. So honestly, I really urge you to check it out if you're interested. Um, yeah, give it a watch. It's really powerful. It was a fantastic episode. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say thank you to anybody watching. Uh, if you're liking some stuff, definitely drop a comment here and there, and give it a thumbs up. Whatever material that you're enjoying watching, that you're finding it valuable. I always say this, and I think it's really, really because I just want people to find information that might help them. So share it with somebody that share any of the material that I'm putting out if you think it might help. A family member, a friend, a colleague, whoever. Because I feel like that's just the full circle thing for me. Like a lot of the things that I'm talking about is just material that I've come into, information that I've come into that I feel is so valuable, so helpful, and I'm like, in a weird way, I feel like I have a responsibility to share that information. So if there's anybody out there that you can share information with that can, help them, please do. Right. And yeah, subscribe if you're liking the material. Yeah. So that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. And I might try and do a couple more of these and maybe even use sort of this vlog style video to talk about some of the topics that I'm interested in talking about. But we'll see. I'm just trying to figure this out and take it one day at a time. Thank you for watching. Take care. And I'll catch you on the next Talking Head video, vlog, podcast, short, who knows. Cheers.